Have you ever wondered why some men seem to effortlessly make women emotionally attached? Almost like there's an invisible magnet pulling them in, while others, despite being successful, handsome, confident, and accomplished, always get ignored, left on red or quietly replaced. You see, society and most dating advice have taught us that attraction is simple. Be successful, be fit, be confident, show off your achievements, and surely women will naturally be drawn to you, right? But the reality is far from that. Because no matter how perfect someone looks on paper, there's a deeper, hidden factor that determines whether a woman truly invests emotionally or drifts away quietly. Today I'm going to share a story that will completely change everything you think you know about attraction, connection, and emotional attachment. This isn't a story about pickup lines, flashy gestures, or clever tactics. This is a story about the subtle, invisible forces that create emotional attachment, forces that most men completely overlook. This is about the difference between being wanted and being chased. It's about why some men get adored, pursued, and emotionally invested in, while others, men who seem perfect, are quietly replaced. It's about the truth no one tells you about women's psychology and emotional wiring. By the end of this story, you're going to realize that attraction isn't just about what you have, how much money you make, or how impressive your lifestyle appears. It's about something far deeper, something almost invisible but far more powerful. How women feel when they are around you. And here's the shocking part. The men who seem effortlessly magnetic aren't better looking, richer, or more talented. They've simply mastered a principle that most men completely miss: internal emotional completeness. So if you've ever felt frustrated, confused, or left behind in dating despite doing everything right, stick with me. Because this story will open your eyes to why women attach to certain men and why others, even the perfect ones, are left behind. Meet Alex, the perfect man. Alex, 34, tech entrepreneur, multiple businesses, financially independent, well-traveled, 6'2", fit, intelligent, charming. By all accounts, he should have had women falling for him. And yet, for years he struggled to hold any woman's attention. He went on dates, had meaningful conversations, and women admired him. But almost no one ever emotionally attached. They would compliment him, laugh with him, enjoy his presence, but when it came time to invest in him, to chase or commit, they were nowhere to be found. And the men these women left him for? Usually less successful, less structured, less impressive, but somehow they had something Alex didn't. Alex thought he understood attraction. Be high value, he said. Be successful, healthy, confident. Show her your life and she'll naturally want you. At first it seemed to work. He got attention. He got dates, but attachment never happened. The beach house awakening. The turning point in Alex's dating life happened unexpectedly. At a weekend getaway with friends at a beautiful beach house, he had been seeing a woman named Emma for about a month. She was intelligent, creative, and had this warm, magnetic energy that made people naturally gravitate toward her. For Alex, it seemed like things were going perfectly. Conversations flowed effortlessly. The chemistry felt natural, and he was confident this connection could lead somewhere meaningful. But then, something happened that would change everything Alex thought he knew about attraction. A new guest arrived, a man named Jake, a mid-20s surf instructor, living out of his van, no long-term plans, no impressive career achievements, and certainly nothing on paper that could compete with Alex. From a logical, checklist perspective, Jake had nothing that should have stood a chance. And yet something extraordinary happened. The moment Emma was around Jake, she changed. Her laughter became softer, lighter, and more genuine. She leaned slightly toward him when he spoke, her body language subtly inviting him closer. Her eyes, which had often met Alex's with curiosity and appreciation, now lit up with interest in a way Alex had never seen with him. There was a spark, a subtle pull that defied explanation. Alex watched, frozen in disbelief. He saw Emma smile at something Jake said, a simple joke. Nothing particularly remarkable, but her reaction was different. She was present. She was emotionally engaged. She was drawn. And here's the part that hit Alex hardest. Jake wasn't doing anything special. He wasn't trying to impress, to woo, or to perform. He wasn't sending the right messages or strategically flirting. He wasn't chasing her attention or seeking approval. He was simply being himself, calm, confident, and completely unconcerned about whether Emma would like him or not. 3 weeks later, Emma ended things with Alex. "I just don't feel connected," she said matter-of-factly, with no anger, no drama, no reason beyond the simple truth of her feelings. And within days, she was spending her time with Jake instead. For Alex, it was devastating. He had always prided himself on being high value, successful, accomplished, confident, but in that moment, he realized that none of that mattered in creating real emotional attachment. This experience forced Alex to confront a truth he had spent years avoiding. Women don't emotionally attach to what you have. They attach to how you make them feel. It wasn't his achievements, his looks, or even the effort he put into planning dates or showing his value that created connection. What mattered was his internal state, the energy he projected, the stability and confidence he embodied without needing validation from anyone. This realization changed everything. Alex had been chasing outcomes, dates, compliments, attention, approval, without ever considering the emotional atmosphere he was creating. Attachment wasn't about what he offered externally. It was about what he radiated internally: calmness, presence, and self-sufficiency. And this, he realized, is the hidden psychology most men never understand. Women don't fall in love with what you can give them. They fall in love with how safe, valued, and understood they feel in your presence. Why success and status aren't enough. Alex thought he had it all figured out. Years of hard work had made him financially independent. His career was thriving. His body was fit, he traveled the world, and he had experiences most men could only dream of. On paper, he was exactly what many women said they wanted. And yet, it hadn't worked. For years, Alex believed that success, status, and accomplishments were the keys to attraction. If I achieve more, he thought, if I travel more, if I look better, women will naturally stay. But that belief was about to be shattered. He started to notice a pattern. Women were drawn to him initially. They admired him, complimented him, and enjoyed his company. But when it came to emotional investment, something always seemed to break. Dates fizzled, messages slowed, and inevitably they drifted away or became emotionally distant. After the beach house incident with Emma and Jake, Alex had a painful realization. All of his success had only attracted attention, not attachment. Why? Because there was something he had been unknowingly projecting, a subtle energy that women felt immediately, even if they couldn't put it into words. It wasn't obvious. It wasn't desperation or begging. Alex wasn't texting nonstop or oversharing personal details. But there was an invisible signal that came through in his presence, his conversations, and even in the way he celebrated his achievements. He was broadcasting neediness, not the kind that screams for attention, not the kind that makes a scene, but a quiet, almost imperceptible message. I need approval. I need to be validated. I need you to confirm that I am enough. And women feel it subconsciously. Even if they don't consciously understand it, their instincts pick it up instantly. Their emotional wiring reacts to it. And when a man is silently asking for reassurance, it blocks true attachment before it even begins. Think about it. A woman can sense when a man's happiness depends on her reaction. She feels the pressure to perform emotionally for him, to soothe his insecurities, to provide confirmation. And while she may be intrigued at first, over time, it creates a tension that pushes her away instead of pulling her closer. Alex realized that for years he had been unknowingly sending this message. His success and accomplishments had drawn eyes but not hearts. He had been chasing validation instead of embodying self-assurance. And that, he learned, is the invisible line between being admired and being emotionally attached to. Attachment, he discovered, is not bought, earned, or achieved. It is felt. It comes from the energy a man projects internally, the quiet confidence of someone who doesn't need to prove his worth, who doesn't rely on anyone else to feel complete. This insight changed everything for Alex. Success alone could never make a woman emotionally attached. What mattered most was how he carried himself when no one was watching, when he didn't need validation, and when he was fully present in his own life. The hidden psychology of emotional attachment. Here's the key insight. Women categorize men emotionally almost instantly. A man who constantly seeks validation, he's seen as below them. A man who is grounded, calm, and internally complete, he sits above. Alex realized he had treated dating like a transaction. Each gesture, each success, each thoughtful action meant to prove his worth. Women felt the pressure not to commit, but to reassure him that he was enough. And that killed attachment, the shift from chasing to being complete. Alex stopped dating, not because he was trying to be strategic, but because he needed to change internally. He stopped seeking validation through women. He asked himself, why do I feel the need to text right now? Why do I want her attention at this moment? Why do I need reassurance from her reaction? Instead of trying to fix his feelings by chasing, he learned to sit in discomfort, to accept that not every interaction would confirm his worth. Something remarkable happened. His energy slowed down. He stopped reacting. He stopped trying to adjust or impress. This was the beginning of presence and non-reactivity, and it changed everything. Presence versus performance. When Alex returned to dating, women immediately noticed a difference. He no longer performed, no longer overshared, no longer sought approval. He simply existed as a complete man. When women tested him, he didn't react. When they pulled away, he didn't chase. And something strange happened. They began investing. They started initiating. They became curious. They started chasing. Because attachment doesn't come from attraction alone, it comes from investment. And women invest in men who are grounded, complete, and non-reactive. The paradox of attachment. Here's the paradox most men never realize. Men chase attachment. Women attach to men who don't chase, not because of games, but because they are emotionally stable and internally complete. A man who doesn't need validation creates safety, and safety, combined with mystery and stability, naturally creates desire. Alex met someone months later. No strategy, no tricks, no effort. She leaned in emotionally, pursued clarity, invested in him, not because he withheld, but because he didn't need her validation. This is the difference between being chased and being replaced. Non-reactivity, the hidden attraction factor. Most men think attachment comes from impressing women, performing or showcasing their success. But the truth is deeper. It's about who you are when no one is watching, when no performance is happening, when nothing is at stake. Women are drawn to men who are grounded, emotionally stable, non-reactive, confident without needing proof. When a man stops performing for validation, women stop feeling confused. They lean in naturally. They invest. They attach. The psychological reframe every man needs. Here's the uncomfortable truth that most men never fully understand. Women attach to emotional states, not resumes. They don't chase achievement. They chase emotional gravity. Validation seeking destroys attraction faster than anything else. Stop asking, do you like me? Start living like I already know who I am. Women don't attach to outcomes. They attach to steadiness, presence, emotional completeness. The takeaway. You don't need to be richer, taller, more handsome, or more successful to make women emotionally attach. You need to stop chasing, stop performing, and become complete internally. Stop needing validation. Stop adjusting yourself to get approval. Stop turning women into mirrors for your self-worth. When you stop performing, women feel it. They lean in. They invest. They attach naturally. This isn't a trick. It isn't manipulation. It's psychological recalibration. Fix the internal state and the external world responds. Final words, the truth about emotional attachment. The next time you find yourself frustrated with dating, feeling confused, or wondering why your efforts don't seem to work, pause and remember Alex's story. The men who are quietly replaced are not bad men. They aren't lacking charm, looks, or even ambition. They are incomplete, not in the sense of failure, but in the way they carry themselves emotionally. They seek validation, reassurance, and confirmation that they are enough, and women feel it even if it's subtle. That silent need creates pressure, and pressure destroys attachment. On the other hand, the men who are naturally chased, pursued, and emotionally invested in aren't perfect. They don't have flawless bodies, massive bank accounts, or Instagram-worthy lifestyles. What sets them apart is far more subtle, far more powerful. They are grounded. They are emotionally complete. They don't need validation from anyone else to feel whole. Here's the key. Women don't attach to what you have. They attach to who you are when nothing is being performed, when no one is watching, and when you don't need them to feel complete. So what does that mean for you? It means becoming a man who doesn't chase outcomes, a man who doesn't adjust his energy to earn approval, a man who is centered, steady, and emotionally self-sufficient. Become a man who already knows his worth, not in words, not in gestures, but in presence. Become a man who doesn't need to seek attention, validation, or emotional guarantees. When you do this, something remarkable happens. Women notice. Not in a fleeting, superficial way. They feel it in the way you carry yourself. They invest in you emotionally. They lean in. They chase. They attach. And the truth is liberating. This isn't about games. It isn't about manipulation or clever strategies. It isn't about tricks to make someone like you. It's about internal mastery. The man who is already whole becomes magnetic. The man who is grounded becomes clarity. The man who doesn't need becomes unforgettable. So take Alex's story with you. Let it be a guide. Stop performing for validation. Stop tying your self-worth to someone else's reactions. Start living as the man who already has everything he needs within himself. Because when you do, women don't just notice. They invest. They lean in. They attach. They chase. And suddenly the dating world stops feeling confusing, unfair, or impossible. It starts to make sense. That's the truth about emotional attachment. That's the real story. The story that no one tells you, but every man needs to understand. If you want to master attraction, human behavior, and emotional connection, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because the lessons you learn here today could change not just your dating life, but your life entirely. Stay present, stay grounded, stay magnetic, and remember, true attraction isn't about what you show. It's about who you are inside.